with another video. So yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Today's video is going to be about being married in your 20s. If you guys do not know, I am 23 years old. I've been married for going on 2 years. I have 3 kids and 2 kids by my husband. So just some of our life lessons, what we've endured, what we've learned about each other. And y'all don't come from my edges or whatever, like, cause okay, I didn't feel like putting nothing on them, but y'all will be all right. But yeah, if you're this far into the video, you might as well already subscribe. Like, go ahead, join the Curly Girl gang, gang, gang. We lit over here. Big hair, big dreams, and even bigger goals, period. If you ain't got no goals, sis, set some, achieve some. What you waiting on? That's what 2020 is about. If you need a message, if you need a memo, your time is now. You got it. It's me. So, yeah, let's get into the video. Me and my husband, we met almost 3 years ago. It'll be 3 years ago, in April, I think April 20th, that's when we met. And our anniversary will be April 27th. So we're going on 3 years of being together and 2 years of marriage. So kudos to that. We're in our 20s. I am about to be 23 in October. My husband is about to be 27 in November. So yeah, we're not that old. And it's doable. So let's get into the first thing. If you guys have not watched our How We Met story, I will link this above, and also I will possibly link it in the description box. But if you have not watched it, go watch it. Go watch my video on how I knew my husband was the one, because like, if you know, you know. But yeah, so the first thing about being married in your 20s is spiritual attacks, number one. Like, me and my husband, we're both Christian. We, believe in God. We pray, all that good stuff. So we noticed, like, it's a difference between being boyfriend and girlfriend and engaged, as opposed to being married. Like, once we got married and decided this is the step that we were going to take, that's when a lot of stuff started coming about, like a lot of trauma, a lot of issues, like us. And before we were boyfriend and girlfriend, we were like this, okay? We got along so well. And then as soon as we decided like marriage is the step that we want to take, that's when things started getting rocky. And it's no, like, no shade toward anybody. This is real life. This is what happens once you decide, like, I want to be with this person for the rest of my life. The spiritual attacks come. So we started arguing more than normal. We weren't even, when we were boyfriend and girlfriend and engaged, we never argued at all. Just a lot of issues, a lot of trauma, us having to deal with them. But now we've been doing great, just because the first year of marriage was the hardest, or what I could say, the hardest year. Because now that we're going on our second year, we've been, I'm not gonna say like everything's been, great, like it's been smooth as gravy. Like, no, of course, like, you're 2 different individuals who are spending the rest of your life together, so you're gonna have your issues, you're gonna have like some faults. But right now, the current point that we're in our marriage, year 1 was very hard, because it was a lot of talking about what we were not used to talking about. We were expressing emotions and having to communicate with someone and having to answer to someone. Those were things that we were not used to, and it just took some getting used to. And then also too, if you're used to doing one thing a certain kind of way for X amount of years, and now you're with someone who is like, no, I'm not okay with that, and we're going to do things differently, and I want to be better. I don't care who did it this way, but we're not going to do it this way, because that is not a good way to do it. So we did a lot of that. And then year 2, the beginning of year 2 was a little bit rocky, but we had like a grand exposure moment between the 2 of us that drew the 2 of us closer, because we even had like a block in the bedroom. Like, it just was not the same at all. But after us expressing our emotions and moving past it, we've been fine. Like, we're going into year 3 of our relationship, year 2 of our marriage, like, great. So that's a plus. But yes, the spiritual attacks come. Things start coming about that you didn't even know existed. You start feeling a certain kind of way about certain things for no reason, for no apparent reason at all. And it's not just, it's the 2 of you. It's not just you. So yes, as a woman, sometimes you have to put on your big girl panties and just, pray it out, fast it out, walk your house, walk the floors. And like, yeah, a woman's work is just a woman's work. But yes. Number two, the biggest thing with being married in your 20s, because yet your 20s to some people are, well, I guess I don't know, I can't say this is for everybody, but everybody puts out like your 20s are, the time you're supposed to be living it up, partying, going out. But if you find the one, you found the one, and you guys still can do that together. But it's no more me and I. And I feel like that's where a lot of relationships fail, because people are being selfish and always about me, I, what I want, what, I want to do, where I want to go. And it's not about you. You're not by yourself anymore. It's us and we. It's no more me and I. It's us and we. Period. It's not how you would feel about something. How would we feel about it? You have to be considerate of your spouse, because you're not by yourself anymore. And I had Kaden when I was 17 years old. So I wasn't as selfish when I came into the relationship as my husband was, because he had been by himself, for 24 years. It just was him, and he was a bachelor. So when we came into the relationship, it was always, and he wasn't as selfish as other people that I dealt with, but he still had his selfish qualities, like my time, me doing this, or it was all about sometimes what he wanted to do. And it's kind of, like I said, a bachelor mentality. But now we've gotten to the process of us and we, and what we would like to do, and what is the best move for us, not the best move for you, not what kind of car that you like, but what kind of car that we would like, what kind of car would fit us. Because now at this point, it's the two of us, and we have 3 kids. So it's not just about what we want anymore. It's about what best suits our family. So another thing that is a big thing that you have to work on, if you're married in your 20s, is no grudges and forgiveness. Like, you cannot hold a grudge towards your spouse at all, because this is the person that you sleep next to every day. So why would you hold a grudge towards someone who you have to lay in the bed with? It makes no sense. And then plus, you never want to go to bed mad at each other, because you never know what may happen. So it's just like, is anything that serious to cost your relationship? Like, what if you went to sleep and this was the last time that you ever seen this person, the person who you claim that you love and that you said you wanted to be with, through thick and thin, like for the rest of your life, and you're gonna go to sleep mad at them? No situation is ever that big. It's not that serious. Nothing is. So no grudges. And even if you brought something up to your spouse and they apologized for it, that has to be and you accept that apology, that has to be the end of that. And you need to learn how to forgive and how to move forward from all of these things. And yet in this day and age, a lot of people glorify holding grudges and not being forgiving. But that is the biggest key, even like from young and old. Forgiveness and no grudges is the biggest thing in marriage, because even though they did something that made you mad, is it really that serious where you're going to cost your relationship or have holding something against this person who you claim that you want to spend the rest of your life with? Nothing is ever that serious, ever. Talk it out and go on about your business. The next thing that I feel like is an issue with this day and age, or being married in your 20s, is trust and being vulnerable. Trust and being vulnerable goes hand in hand, because if you think about it, you have to trust a person in order to open up and be vulnerable with that person and express everything that has gone on in your life, where it is that you're trying to go, your dreams, your aspirations, the things that make you feel some type of way, the things that make you feel like you want to cry, the things that make you depressed. Like, your spouse needs to know everything there is to know about you, because this is your other half, literally. Like, you cannot hide anything from them. You're supposed to be able to trust them with your life, if your life depended on it. So if you cannot be vulnerable with that person, you need to work on your trust with that person. Because and I wouldn't tell you guys anything that I haven't experienced in my marriage, but like my husband, we had a little bit of, or he had trust issues on his part, and I did too with certain things. But of course, like, we opened up and we talked about it, but just him, it was like simple conversation. Like, he doesn't want to let you know certain things just because of his other situations where other people have treated him a specific kind of way. So it's like, do I even open up? Do I take the time? And it's like, yeah, you say that you trust me, but you don't exemplify you trusting me at all. And then when he sat back and thought about it, like, I really don't. I really have never opened up all the way for you. And it's like, he opened up just enough in the beginning, and then as soon as like marriage came, it's like the door is shut. And I'm the type of person, once I feel like I'm being shut out, I shut you out as well. So it's like, you know, the further and further you pull apart, the further and further that I pull apart. So we had to come to a conclusion, like, we're gonna have to put everything on the table, and this is gonna be our truth moment, and we're gonna, you know, share everything with each other. And here, on to my next point, within us being vulnerable or trusting each other to be vulnerable with each other, we shared like our trauma, like what happened. If you guys do not deal with your trauma or talk about what your trauma is, it will be a hindrance in your marriage. Like, I talked about some things with my husband that I have never even told anybody, and it made me realize that I treated my husband a specific kind of way for no reason at all. Like, when it came to certain things, I would just shut it down all the way. I just wouldn't even respond. I wouldn't even indulge anything, like, just because of a certain situation. And it seemed like, you know, the more and more I exposed and I talked about this trauma and I just kind of put it past me and I got over it, the more and more we started to bond, and the closer that our relationship got. And it was like, dang, I really, like, subconsciously was treating you a specific kind of way based off of something that I experienced before. And also too, if your spouse is telling you that you need to sit back and evaluate, and it's like, even if like you feel like you can't remember what it is, pray and ask God to reveal to you what it is, so that you guys can move past whatever it is. Because I'm like, we're in a rut, and we're in this block in our marriage, stuck at this one point. And what is it? Why are we not elevating? Why are we not going to the next level? And both of us sat and we talked about like everything that was going on with us, or everything that happened to us. And this brings me to my next point. Communication is key. Like, it's key. Like, it's key to all keys, period. Because if you don't know how to talk to anyone, how can anybody know how you're feeling? How can anybody know what you're trying to say? And it's more than just, communication is more than just talking. It's talking in correct terms. Just because you may know what you're saying, the other party may not know what you're saying. And it's just like, you like, oh wow, you should know what I'm saying, or whatever. But it's like, they really don't. So you have to communicate clearly and concise. Because it's going to be hard if you're doing runarounds and you're touching one thing and then touching another thing. Like, stay straight to the point and get, you know, whatever it is that you have to say out, because you're going to confuse the other party. And then a lot of times too, in marriages, people think that they're communicating a certain kind of way, and tones and all of that matters. Like me, if I feel like the tone is off, and my husband is the same way too. If he feels like the tone is off, he's going to shut the whole conversation down. Like, I'm not going to do this. We're not going to talk to each other like that. And this is just not what we're going to do. And I'm the same way. I can't deal with your tone. I'm not going to go any further with the conversation. Like, at this point, I'm just done until we can fix tones. If, you know, and if tones can be fixed in the moment, then just be like, you know what, we're going to revisit this in an hour. Like, when everybody's cooled down, it's not something that's fresh. It's not something that's, you know, hot, a fresh situation. You have to sometimes cool off, come back, and then talk about it. Because then at that point, you guys are level-headed, and sometimes in the moment, you will say some things that you don't truly mean to say. And I used to be a person who was like, nah, you really, if that's what you said when you was mad, that's really how you feel. But some people really get overwhelmed in heated situations and don't know how to communicate. And my husband is one of those people. If he's overwhelmed and he can't process too much of what's going on, he will say a lot of stuff that he doesn't necessarily even mean in the moment. So it's like, I kind of had to eat my words on that situation, because it's like, I know you don't even mean that. So it's like, I had to be the bigger person and be like, you know what? He's getting overwhelmed, and if he says that this is something that he cannot do right now, or he cannot communicate about this right now, then I just have to revisit the situation. If he asks for a couple minutes just for him to settle down and think about everything that's going on, I have to give him that. Because then at that point, that's me hurting myself, because I know that if he is overwhelmed and too much is going on, then he's not going to be able to analyze and evaluate the situation and what's going on. So if I overwhelm him with too much and just continue to do that, even, you know, if he asks for his own time, then that's me hurting myself, because I know what is the outcome. So why would I push him to that outcome? It makes no sense. Last and final thing that I feel like you need to touch on to be successful and married in your 20s is soul ties. Soul ties are real, because sex was not something that just was, you know, now in this day and age, everybody just flinging around everywhere. Sex is not something that was intended for everyone. It was only intended for us, you know, a specific thing, and that specific thing was marriage. So you can get into relationships with, both him and I did. We both had sex outside of marriage. We both had sex as boyfriend and girlfriend outside of marriage, and then within marriage. And we totally, completely understand why now sex is one of those things that is specifically for marriage. So he has sex with other people, and those things that bother other people or that were attached to other people followed him into our relationship, and the same vice versa. So it's just like, you cannot, you will hold on to trauma from other situations, or, you know, ways that other people had that now you have, just because you had a second of pleasure with this person. And now all of these people, or all of these, you know, entities, all of these identities follow you into your marriage and into relationship. And you have to be the person that's going to stand up and be like, you know what, I don't want this. I want something different for myself. Even like generational curses. Everybody in my family has had, or not everybody, but majority of my family has had babies early and have not been with the father of their child. So I'm like, no, I'm gonna, even though I did that and I felt susceptible to that, I'm still standing up and I'm gonna be like, no, it's gonna be different with my generation. My kids are not gonna do that. My kids are gonna be able to come talk to me no matter how bad they feel it is, because I'm going to establish that relationship early. Like, I'm still your parent, but I'm still the person that you come confide in, no matter what. Even if you feel like it's the worst of the worst, all you can do is tell me. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. So all of this stuff is real, and you need to take it serious. Take time to go to counseling, or even, you know, take time to talk to God and ask him to heal you of these things, because these are real things that in reality dissolve marriages, because Satan does not want to see marriage. That is one thing he does not want to see, and that's the one thing that he does hate. He genuinely hates. It's marriages, because together, two people married, it's a force to be reckoned with. And now that my husband and I are married and are, you know, devoted into making our lives better, it's just like, it's attack after attack after attack. But it's okay though, because we are figuring things out and we are doing things better. We're going to be better than what we've ever seen and what's been shown to us. So it's just like, you know, and I am not a believer of you're a factor of your environment. No. Because just because you come from a certain environment does not mean that you can want better. Just because you were only shown a certain kind of thing does not mean that you can want better. Just because you are only taught to communicate this kind of way does not mean that you cannot learn to communicate better. So if you want better, you will do better. Just want better. So that is it for today's video. Just some of the struggles and how to be successful or have a successful marriage in your 20s. Yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Curly Girl gang. We lit over here. Big hair, big dreams, and even bigger goals. And that's on period, sis. If you ain't got no goals, set some, achieve some. And if you need a message, a memo, it's me. Go do what you gotta do. It's 2020. The time is now. Yeah, I'll see you guys later.